Hello everyone and welcome back to Glorious Crafts. My name's Gloria. Today I'm going to be working with resin and I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't done much with resin. I've done a couple things, but now I'm going to try to make some products. So let's get started. You're going to want to be in a ventilated area. I got these gloves, I believe, from Walmart. There's 100 in there. They weren't that expensive. I think they were $11. I also got clear casting resin from Joann's Fabric. I like the fact that it's 50-50, so you'd put the same amount of what is in part A and the same amount of what you need for part B. And then you need to mix it. You could wear a protective face mask to make sure that you're going to not be inhaling it. It's better to be in a well ventilated area. And you need to mix it for 5 minutes. Try to get the bubbles out. You're going to need, this is like a blow dryer, kind of. You could use a blow dryer. I got this at Joann's Fabrics. So it blows out the bubbles. I also have a little poker stick that will get the bubbles out of the resin, or you could use a torch. You have to be very careful with a torch so you don't melt your molds. So we're going to get started. Pretty excited. Okay, I have these 2 containers that I got from Amazon. And they have the measurements on the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my casting resin. First I'm going to put my gloves on because I don't want to get any of this on my skin because I'm not sure how my skin will react to it. And I honestly don't want to find out. So I want to be protected. And you want to wear a face mask, well ventilated area. So I'm going to take the casting resin and I want to use the entire container because I am doing it big today with my resin. I would like to try and make a lot of items. I don't know how many items I can make, but I'm giving it my all. It'll take about 12 hours for it to harden. 72 hours is perfect because it's really hard in 72 hours. So if you have a mistake, you can fix it, but I will show you the reveal when I am done. So I'm just going to let that continue to go into my big giant resin bowl. And then I'm going to take the hardener, which is right here, and I'm going to put it in this bowl. The hardener doesn't seem as thick as the resin, so right now it's starting to smell a little funky, so you definitely want a ventilated room and gloves. So I'm going to put the lids back on and I'm going to turn them upside down in the box so that I can have the rest of it come down. I don't know if you can see this, it's on the 8 for the hardener. It is close to the 8 on the resin, so I'm going to try and get some more resin out of here because it would like it to be 50-50. I don't need much more. So I'm just going to put a little in there. Now when you mix this, you need to mix it for 5 minutes and continually mix it, and you're going to try not to get a lot of bubbles in it, and that's what you'll use your torch or your blow drying item. So now I'm going to put, which one's thicker? I believe the resin's thicker, so I'm going to put the hardener in with the resin. It doesn't matter which one you do. I have a silicone spatula, so you have 30 minutes of setup time to do your projects before this starts getting hot and it starts hardening, and you want to work within those boundaries. You can come back hours later to do other things, which is what I'm going to do today, which I will turn on my camera so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm just now taking the hardener out of the container. Now, do not put any of your resin items into water. Water is not your friend. It just makes everything stickier. So I found that if you leave it harden, it's much easier to peel out. So right now I am mixing this up, and you're going to want to do the middle and the sides, and you're going to consistently mix it for about 5 minutes, and you're going to have bubbles, and that's where the blow dryer thing is going to come into play, or your torch. But you got to be careful with a torch. One, you got to make sure it's off when you're done using it, and two, you don't want to melt your molds. So let me see if I can put this down a little more, maybe move my table so you can see better. So you want to consistently mix, scrape the sides and the bottom, and consistently mix your products. Now you're going to see bubbles. Doesn't matter how slow you do it, you're still going to have bubbles. So that's where I'm going to take my, it's called an American Crafts. It's got one, it sounds just like a blow dryer. And this will help pop some of the bubbles, especially the bigger bubbles. So you want to keep mixing. Make sure you get the sides and the bottom. I'm going to come back after I'm done mixing. Okay, I believe that's all mixed up now. Now, I have these trays that I'm going to pour resin in. I also have these would be the handles for the trays, but these are going to have to be done before the tray itself because of the fact that these have to be hard, so when this gets hard you can put your handle in. So I'm going to first pour into a smaller container so I have a little bit more flexibility and more control over what I am pouring. I need to find my little cup. I know I have it here somewhere. Here's my cup. I'm going to use to pour these. I'd like to pour these first. I would just like a little bit more control. So I am going to see how this has a spout. This does not. So I'm going to pour my resin into the cup. stuff off the side. And here it is. See the bubbles? Now I'm going to pour it into my mold. Because this has to harden before my tray does. So there's bubbles. So I want to show you how to get rid of them. You can pop them with a little stick, or you could use your dryer. You don't want to melt your mold. So you'd like this cleaned off right here. Now I'm not sure how many items I can make today because I'm new at this with the resin I have. But you'd like this as full as possible without going over. And then I'm going to set it aside. So I'm going to come back for this later, and I'm going to move this out of the way carefully. And here's my other handles right here for my trays. So now I'm going to pour into the mold. I'm going to make the handles clear for right now. I don't think I'm going to add anything to my handles, but we will see as I go along. I might change my mind. So you're going to have some runoff, especially these are a little thinner with the opening, so just try to make sure you get in there and get everything. The little peg legs that are here, you want to get in there and all in, and you can scrape it off with your popsicle stick is what I'm doing, and before it hardens you can take care of that also. But we're going to come back and see me do that anyway. So I'm going to make sure that the other legs are full because I am unsure. So I'm just going to, right now I'm trying to fill the little leg areas. And go down. You want to make sure the entire mold is filled. So I'm going to need some more. So I'm just trying to smooth it out on top just to make sure I have enough in there. So I'm going to mix this some more and then pour some more into my little cup so I can get more in there. Now I am making a hot mess. I believe I have way too much, so I'm going to scrape and put inside of the area I have. I'm going to move this back some. Wet wipes are awesome to get resin off of surfaces. As you can see, I've made a hot mess of what's going on here. So I'm going to get a wet wipe and wipe the area. So this takes the resin off. For some reason, it works really well with wet wipes. So remember, you only have about 30 minutes of playtime with your resin. And right now it's leaking all over. Now you can, if it gets all over the table, if you're using a glass table, it'll peel right off when you're done, when it's hard. Which is good, because I'm using an outdoor table. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab both my handles, put them here. I'm going to take off my gloves because I have resin on my gloves. And I'm going to use my so-called blow dryer. And I'm trying to get rid of the bubbles. Now this is going to take a while, because it takes up to 12 hours. So you should do the handles first, because you're going to want to sink them into your resin on your mold. Okay, so I'm going to need more gloves, which I think these gloves are great because I have very large hands. So I wasn't sure if they were going to be too tight, and they are not, and I adore that because I didn't want, you know, I wanted to be able to move. So while that is setting, which would take a while, I am going to put these aside to let them set. And don't forget to continue to mix your items. Now I had this beautiful wooden mirror. Here it is. The glass broke. It was very heavy and the glass broke, and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't want to throw it out. So I had laid some resin about a week ago on this to seal it. Okay? Now I'm going to put more resin on it. All over the area. Now I have a technique I'm going to do with cling wrap in a couple hours, but it has to sit for a couple hours. And the reason I'm not doing my trays right now, the other trays, is I have to get the handles hardened so that when the resin hardens in on the tray, I can put my handles in. So you continually mix. Now remember, you only have a half hour of playtime with this. You can put in as much as you'd like. I'm thinking of making this into a tray also, but I am not sure just yet. So I'm going to use my spatula to move around my resin, because I need it all over the entire piece. I'm going to need some more. I don't mind using this big container when I'm doing a bigger area, but the control for the littler area is not as easy as you would think. That's why I didn't use the big container. One good thing about the the little blow dryer item. It'll help me blow around the resin. So right now I'm cleaning off my gloves so that I can touch my blow dryer. And then I see that I have some resin on my item. So you could lean it to have it go, which is probably easier. And I'm going to try and get those bubbles out also. So I hope you can see that the resin is moving around, and I'm trying to get the whole entire item covered. And I'm going to add color and everything in about 3 hours. So right now I'm trying to get the bubbles out. Try not to hit your equipment into the resin, because I've done that, and then it makes it all funky. This also helps it heat up. You know, when you heat it up, it helps it move a little more. And I'm going to move my camera in so you can see that I don't have many bubbles in it. I'm hoping. So, as you can see, my light's in the way, but you can't really see bubbles anywhere, which is awesome. And I'm going to add color so that you won't, you won't see these items in here. So I'm thinking I want to do the saran wrap, but I am unclear on what I'm going to do because I have different colors that I could use. So I'm going to let that sit for a little while. I'm going to come back in probably 3 hours and check and start putting my cling wrap on, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'll be back. Okay, it's been about 3 hours, and now what I'm going to do is I have cling wrap. I'm going to give this a try. And I'm going to take some cling wrap off. Okay, I need gloves. I'm going to give this a wavy effect with the cling wrap. It's not cured yet. It takes quite a few hours for it to get hard. So, taking the cling wrap, I'm new at this. I've seen it done, so I'm going to give it a try. So, I am going to lay it down. And see if I can make a shape using the cling wrap on this item that I'm going to make into a tray. So it's very sticky, but I would like to try and have it have different shapes so that I can add color to it later. So right now I'm just pushing the cling wrap into my resin because I'd like to get a textured effect all over, and I would like the cling wrap to go all the way to the edges. So I'm using this little spatula flat thing. I need some more for over here, and I'm hoping this will give it an effect, and then I'm going to add color in a couple more hours. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Fingers crossed that it turns out well, and it looks good. I don't know if it will turn out good. I'm hoping. So I'm going to make this a tray, but now I'm going to use, it's from Cricut, just to push down into the resin. And my gloves. So I'm going to come back in about an hour or two, and hopefully I can add color to this and it'll come out the way I'm hoping it will. So I'm just pushing it down so that it'll make some kind of imprints on my resin. I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping that it turns out, because I'm going to add more resin when it's done. It's because I want to fill this tray and have it equal around the edges. But right now I'm doing this process with the cling wrap to have a little bit of texture. Then I'm going to add color. I'm thinking the ink, and paint that on somewhat, and then add more resin. So I'm going to be back in a couple hours to check and see how this is turning out. Okay, so the handles that I'm making are still curing, and I'm pretty excited. So hopefully this will work out, and we will see. So I'm just trying to give it, see how it has lines and creases in there. I'm going to give it a couple hours and take off the saran wrap, and we will see how it looks. So I'll be back in a couple hours. Okay, so it's been about an hour where I've had the saran wrap over my resin. This is going to be very sticky, as you can see, but I wanted to put some lines in my resin while it's hardening. So it's going to be a little messy and sticky. So trying to get the saran wrap off of my glove. Okay, now I'm just peeling it up so that it makes the creases in my resin like I wanted. And as you can see, it's very, very sticky, so good to wear gloves. And I'm pulling it up because I wanted some kind of different shape. Not sure if this is going to work out, but we're giving it a try. So, very messy, very sticky. Having problems with it being stuck to my gloves. Oh, goodness. Okay. Oh. I can't get it off my hand. There we go. Okay. Now, see how it's putting, whoops, my gloves are now stuck together. See how it's putting different shapes in the resin? That's what I wanted. So you just want to get all of the plastic cling wrap off before it's hardened. And then I want to give it probably another hour so the stickiness starts to subside, because this is not easy to do. The stickiness is a hot mess. So as you can see, my gloves stick together. It's very, very tacky right now, the resin. But I'll show you as soon as I get all the plastic off the effects I was trying for. So, oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. So you're just taking it up and trying to get the plastic off. These gloves are now a hot mess. And I wanted different shapes in the resin. And it is very, very, very sticky, as you can tell. Not sure how well this is going to work out. As you can see, it's extremely sticky. So I'm going to get rid of these gloves because they're a mess. So what I've done is, it has little bumps and waves and different designs on here. I'm going to try and use my dryer to get rid of the bubbles. So we're going to give that a whirl and see if that gets rid of some of the bubbles. So let me put that back up so you can see. Get my dryer. Here it is. Now I'm going to try and get rid of the bubbles. And I believe this dryer works very well for that. So I'm just trying to get rid of the bubbles. It's still very tacky. I could have probably waited maybe another hour before I took off the plastic, but I didn't want to wait too long, so I only gave it an hour's time. So right now I am popping the bubbles. And they're leaving little indents, which is fine, because I would like to have some texture to my mold. So let me turn this around. Get over here with the bubbles. And this will be smooth when I add the other layer. So right now I'm just trying to get rid of the bubbles. And I think I'm doing a fairly decent job of getting rid of the bubbles. Just trying to pop all of them. Now I'm going to give it an hour or two. And then I'm going to come back and put some dye on it. Let me see how tacky it is first. Because maybe I should do that now. Oh, it's very stringy. We don't want it this stringy to do it. So we're going to give it about an hour. More. An hour or more. But where it's stuck to my finger, I'm blow drying it to make it smoother. And I don't want to lose all my creases and everything, but I don't want it, you know, stuck up. So I didn't want to smooth out all the creases. So as you can see, there's some dents from bubbles and other things, and it's too sticky for me to put on my dye. And what I am using to put color in this is going to be, I don't know if it's actually dye, it is color pour resin. You can mix this with resin and to make a solid color, but I'm going to do a little bit of different colors. They're alcohol inks, and I have several of them. So I'm going to give this about another hour or two. I don't want it that sticky. and I'll come back and we'll figure it out from there. Okay, it's a couple hours later. It's not tacky. Remember before it was stringy? It's still sticky, but not as sticky. I'm going to use some crushed glass that I got from Michael's. And I'm going to go around the outside. Now I am also going to add more acrylic. I don't know if I'm going to actually have the acrylic go all the way up to the line, because I might want a little lip in this, because I'm thinking it'll be a serving tray. So I'm hoping that the crushed glass will adhere to what I'm doing. Now this is all trial and error, what I'm doing here. But that's how you learn, right? So, whoops, got some on top. A little bit too much. So I have the crushed glass going around the outside, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think it looks awesome. So I want to make sure I have a decent amount all the way around with the crushed glass, and pushing it back some. So there is the crushed glass. Now I'm going to take my paintbrush and smooth some of this over if I can move it. Some of it's already stuck to it. So what I'm doing is just trying to get it up against the wall here. Got a runner. I think that's a piece of lint or something. So there you go with that. Now I have this burgundy color of, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? It's burgundy. I got it at Joann's, and I'm going to put this around next to the glass and see how that turns out, and see if I can use a brush, if I can get it out. It is not coming out. I should probably put my gloves on, but we will see. Oh, the cap shot off somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of dots on it of the burgundy. Then I'm going to take my brush, and I want to do like a feathery motion. I want to definitely paint where the darker color is underneath. So I'm just adding like lines for this. You want to get any hair or anything off, and you can't really see it, but we are going to add more acrylic. So I'm hoping you can see the color I put in there. I believe you can. So I'm going to put the lid on, and I'm going to clean off where it's splattered, because I'd like this to be the way it's supposed to be with the wood. I don't want little parts. So I'm going to take my hand and just gently push this around, because I'm going to add more acrylic around, and hopefully that'll stay. So I have some burgundy, and Then I believe I'm going to mix up another color to put in here with this. And then I'm going to add the acrylic on, not acrylic, oh my goodness, the resin. And I have a copper color right here. And I'm going to take the lid off. Boy, they just shoot right off when you take them off. And I'm going to just do a little pour. Oh, I think that's so pretty. Now I'm hoping this turns out. I really do. Not sure it's going to. Not sure what it's going to look like. But I have big hopes that this will look outstanding and be a gorgeous, gorgeous serving tray. Or a picture, but I'm thinking more towards serving tray. So, I want to get these lines and all, and just put this on there, and then I'm going to get my resin together. I don't know why I keep saying acrylic. I apologize for that. And I'm going to pour that in there. So I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier with the resin, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I mixed up 400 on here of the hardener and the resin, and now I'm going to start pouring it on my tray. And it will spread out, and with the diamonds, well, the crystals, not diamonds, but I think it looks kind of like diamonds, the shards of glass. And it has the coppery burgundy color on the bottom, and so I want to make sure I get close to the edge on everything. I am also going to tilt my tray slash picture, not sure what I want it to be yet, to move the colors around the acrylic. I like the little lip on the top, so in case I do put something on the tray, if I make it a tray, it's not going to fall off. I can carry it with confidence and just know that it's not going to fall while I'm carrying it. So I'm going to get my blow dryer, heat tool, whatever you'd like to call it, and push around the resin. For some reason I like to say acrylic. Okay, so I'd like it around the edges. so that all the glass, and if you see, the colors are moving also. The colors are also moving that I put in there, which is kind of awesome. And I lifted it too much, so now I'm scraping off where it came over the side. And see the colors moving? I think that's so really awesome. I'm going to turn this off for a couple minutes and move this around so that I get all around where my gems are. Okay. I'm going to get a baby wipe and wipe around the outside because I definitely don't want this resin all over my tray / picture. I'm going to get a toothpick and see if I can twirl some of those colors around, or Q-tip, whichever I find first. I found a Q-tip. So I'm going to use this end of the Q-tip, and I'm going to start whirling it around. Not sure if it's going to do anything on this side. It would do something on the other side, but we are not picking that up. So I am just swirling everything to give color on the corners a little more, and making a design with little circles and then bigger circles, and making it. This is how you create feathers in your design, but we're not turning this around when it's done, so you're really not going to see the feathers. But I am just trying to give it a little more pizzazz around everything. See how there's circles in there and all? I could add more color, which I might do because the copper seems to have taken over the burgundy. Not sure if you can really see that. So I think I'm going to add some more burgundy and see what happens with that. Just going to add a couple dots and see what happens. I'm going to do it up high and see what happens. Whoops, that was a spill, not a dot. A drop. And see if they move around on their own. I'm having a lot of fun with resin. I have to say, I think this is a lot of fun. Not sure if you're going to get some resin, but I find this a lot of fun and very, very relaxing. So I'm just trying to do little circles and little designs to have the color be in the design a little bit. You have some bumps and stuff from where we did the saran wrap. So I am pretty much going to leave this alone now, and it should take about another 12 hours or so to dry, but I wish I knew what you thought. But I think it looks pretty neat. I like the copper. I like the burgundy. I think it looks really, really pretty. So I'm going to let this dry and leave it alone for a change and not come back and mess with it. But I have the gems around the side, and they'll be in the acrylic. It'll be hard. It'll be beautiful. And we'll come check back on it tomorrow. Bye for now. And this is what it looks like right now. Hi everyone. I'm back and we're going to do the reveal, but I want to show you. See how I told you don't use water in here? So basically this gets hard and you can peel it right off. So still don't use water, and then you can peel all of this out of your resin cups. It's so easy and it comes right out. You use water, it gets sticky and creates a big mess. So there is the finished product. I have some in this cup. You just squish it around. It cracks up just like that and comes right out. So again, don't use water because water just makes it sticky. So I will clean these up more later, but I wanted to show you that. Okay, here's our handles. Remember we made the handles yesterday so that we can make the trays today. So I'm going to show you. I've never made handles before, and I'm just going to pull this down on the mold. If it's sharp anywhere, you can use sandpaper to sand it, or you could use a Dremel, and you just pull it right out. Here's one of the handles. You can paint it, you can leave it clear. I'm most likely going to sand down up here because it's a little sharp, but it's done. Hard. Now for the other one. Same thing. You just pull it out. It's a little tough, especially since I've never used the mold. Trying to get a grip on it is not that easy, but try not to break it also. And here's the other one. And it has some bubbles and some little pieces of I don't know what in there. So most likely I will paint this. And then if you remember, I did the picture and or frame because it has a hanging thing on the back, or I can make it into a tray and put two things here. So this is what it looks like done. I am so excited about resin. It's actually easy to do and a lot of fun. But look at the detail in the colors. How the colors have different shapes and everything in there. Has a little bit of a feathering effect. It does have some bumps from where I used the plastic wrap, which I probably shouldn't have used a plastic wrap on this, but I think it looks beautiful. Thanks much for watching. Have a blessed day, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.